About 48 seconds. And I'm doing this on YouTube. I'm going to try to do it on, I'm going to use Facebook. I'm going to try to do it on Facebook. I say it's faster.
15 seconds, stand by.
Is that all we need to do? Is that where it's supposed to be? In here?
How y'all doing? It's another Sunday afternoon. RVUTUBE live from the lake.
On the lake.
We basically live in the RV. I guess you could call us full-timers. Actually, we've been living full-time now for what, 6 months?
Yep.
Since March?
Yep.
So instead of just sitting in the driveway all the time, we spend a lot of time the weekends at the lake. I don't know if you saw our thumbnail, but the thumbnail was interesting because the thumbnail said, Houston, we have problems. It's okay to have a problem, but we have problems.
We have problems. So.
It's the first real major problem we've ever had with Matilda.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get into it right this minute, but I want to welcome all you folks on board Over the Hill RV. Hello, everyone. Good to see y'all. Empath Embracing Life. Thank you for being here. JW Carter is here. The Aloha Conch is here. Also, Weekend RVing. Miss Barbara Carter is here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're also trying something new. You're on.
I couldn't see anything else. I gave up.
Oh, she was going to try to run the comments, run the chat on Facebook because we're also on Facebook Live. Maybe that's our problem. I think I heard Michael and Dustin and perhaps Mark over at the Art of RVing talk about if you go Facebook Live and you go YouTube Live, you're splitting your audience so you don't get near as many views or viewing hours. We're at, we have barely squeaked past 800 subscribers, and we just can't get over that hurdle. We're not producing a lot of content right now other than live streams.
But I want to say hello to Amy.
Okay.
Now, she was Amy McFarland, the
RV Empath.
Right, now she's Empath Embracing Life.
I got you.
Okay, that's for everybody.
It's about time now. Hey there, good to see y'all. Wilson's on Wheels. Also Elizabeth R.H. Carter. Boy, they're actually over there in Matilda.
There you are.
That's JW, Elizabeth, and together they are the Aloha Conch.
Yeah.
So they're over there and they're chomping at the bit to get them a YouTube channel started. So
Linda Barker.
Linda Barker, good to see you.
Oh, they're sneaking out so they can be on screen.
That's the Aloha Conch right there.
I'm the Conch.
And I'm Aloha.
So the Conch and the Aloha.
That's right.
She was born in Hawaii and you were born in Key West.
That's right.
We've got Diary from a family here, and Camping Therapy just showed up, and they came over from the RVers.
Okay, the internet is, I keep getting little messages on the screen that it flakes out from time to time, so hopefully we'll have enough. We've got almost 5 bars.
I know. And there's nobody here.
And there's really nobody here. I mean, it's a Sunday afternoon. Everybody rolls out by, well, they have to be out by 3 o'clock Georgia time, which is Eastern time.
Which
and
is,
it was 2 hours ago, an hour
ago. This is the golden hour in the RV life.
Camping Therapy, good to see you. Glad y'all could be here with us. 13 of you folks in the room with us right now. Again, we do have some problems with Matilda, and I'm going to be getting your advice on those problems here in just a little bit. I've spent a lot of time. I've not enjoyed this weekend as much as I normally enjoy our weekends, because it happened when we backed into our spot, and it's been the forefront on my mind. Here it is Sunday afternoon, and Miss Barbara wants to go home tonight just to be safe and make sure we can get it home instead of waiting until first thing in the morning when we usually head home. And I'm kind of bummed because I hate to leave on Sunday. I hate it. But I don't know if you can see right down there behind us. Miss Barbara, lean to your left. Lean more. There. Well, you can't see them, but yeah, I got the banner up. But without the banner up, the comments banner,
You can't see the kayak and the
kayak and the umbrella are down there. But anyway, they're right down there in the water. And so I got to put the kayaks away. I got to get the umbrella, and I got to get the chairs.
We don't have that much more to put away than normal. He's been pouting all day because he never wants to leave on a Sunday, so we normally leave on Monday. That's been our routine. But we've had some mechanical problems. I don't want to have to deal with it tomorrow. He doesn't want to deal with it today. He is a child. Not being responsible. You're not being responsible. We both are supposed to be at work in the morning because he won't retire. And I'm refused to retire completely until you retire.
Hello, Thrifty Angela.
Hey, sir, Angela.
The Art of RVing. Houston, let's rock. Yeah. Oh, that was pretty cool, though. The astronauts came back and splashed down in the Gulf out from Pensacola today. First time we have had a recovery at sea in 45 years, because, of course, we landed the shuttle for a couple of decades there.
That was cool. I have to admit it. I'm a junkie for flying in space, because when I was a little girl, I'm talking little girl, first and second grade, I wanted to be the first woman on the moon. And honestly, to tell you the truth, folks, I can still be that first woman on the moon, except for the issue with my claustrophobia and the fact that I'm 66 years old. Got some, things going against me there. However, there hasn't been a woman on the moon yet. So my goal has not been achieved by anybody else yet.
I like the way it's about time now. Things tomorrow might be better because more stores would be open. If I did have a problem, if I need a repair shop or something.
We came in here on a Thursday night. Problem kind of reared its ugly head, and the first thing Ricky did Friday morning was make absolutely sure that we had our
I did. I got online to make sure our roadside assistance was up to date, and it is up to date and enforced through November. I was concerned just in case she has to be towed out of here. It's one of those situations where I'm like 95% sure that with a pair of vice grips.
Uh-oh. Do we need to move our car? We got you covered, honey. Don't worry. We're going to get someone to move our vehicle because we got a brand new neighbor. Absolutely, we understand. Don't worry. All of the, you know how it is when you go into a campsite. All the parking is kind of crazy. It's wide open. she's backing up for one of the first times, and she just wants to have a lot of room. So, hey, that's what neighbors are all about. Yeah, that's been several hours. No more boudin. Hooray! We cooked him outside. Hooray! He's still changing the subject. Anyway, he says he's 95% sure that he can get the car or the Matilda home. And
I'm pretty sure with vice grips and a open end wrench that I can fix what ails her for now, a temporary fix to get her home. Of course, she won't have any brakes, and I'm going to have to just go straight and not stop.
But from here to home, if we go the back way, you've got.
I'm just kidding. I'll have brakes. What I won't have, let's go ahead and tell you what the problem is. What I won't have is basically the parking brake or the auto park brake. You know, the emergency brake that you pull up in a car, or you use the foot pedal. In some RVs, my RV does not have a foot pedal. It has what they call the auto brake. And if you're familiar with the auto brake, just go ahead and chime in the comments there. Now, Matilda is over 20 years old.
Yeah. And
I've been doing a lot of reading in the forums, and there is an excellent website called RVUTUBE.com. And I mean, it's such a common problem that there's a website devoted to it, and I've already reached out to them. But basically, I can disengage the electronic, which is really hydraulic. It's a signal goes to a hydraulic pump, which is about midway under the RV. And what it does is the brake drum, which shoes around the drive shaft. And whenever you put it in park, or whenever you put it, when you pull the parking brake lever, there's a little button, yellow button, it locks the drive shaft. And when we were backing in Thursday afternoon, I got her almost completely into the slot. And usually I like to back all the way up to give us as much usage of the deck area out here. And she would not back up. It was almost like I was up against a curb with the tires. You know, you give her the gas and she just wouldn't move. It wouldn't move. I'd pull forward. I could pull forward a little bit. And then when I'd put it in reverse and try to back up, it was almost like, you know, I was up against the curb and something was holding the tires. So I kind of had a sense something was wrong. And I almost had an idea of what it was in some respect. We had brake problems of some kind. It was a hot Thursday. I don't think it was so hot that heat caused any kind of seizing of the brake shoes. But so after some research and after getting up under the RV Friday when I got back over here, I found a little trail of fluid down the drive into our slot here. And then directly under, almost directly behind the steps, almost midway the RV, there is basically a box under there, metal box, with a fill reservoir where you put the fluid in. You actually put automatic transmission fluid in there. And that drives a little cylinder that whenever you're in park or neutral, and whenever you're in park, or you've actually engaged the parking brake with the lever, the little switch, it locks to the drive shaft and nothing goes. So right now she's sitting there and she's locked because there's no fluid in that cylinder, and there's fluid all over the ground underneath the RV, which basically means the master cylinder is broke, the seal is broke, one of the hoses from the pump is broke, or the pump itself is broke. Something under there is broke and it let the fluid out, and it's spring loaded. When there's no fluid in it, it springs back and locks the brake. So right now she's sitting there and she's not going anywhere until I release that drive brake, or what they call the auto park brake.
All right, I need to say hello to Miss Jean Rainey, to Bill or BJ and Jody, my sister, Weekend RV, and I think that we said hello to them earlier, but I'm not positive, so we're going to say it again. Wandering Wiley, good to have you guys here. Let's see, I think we've caught up with all of those folks. Dan, the vintage RVer.
He joined us after he watched the SpaceX splashdown.
I know.
He also said,
he witnessed a trail of tears.
from the power steering unit. Yep, Trail of Tears.
And Lisa, looky Lisa Lipsticks is here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a video too. I'm not gonna let this. I'm gonna walk the trail, get up under it, and try to shoot a little video. I mean, if I'm gonna get up under there and tinker with it, at least it might help somebody down the road. Again, we will have brakes, wheel brakes, but we will not have the auto park brake or the auto brake. And a lot of RVs prior to 1998 had a foot brake, the pedal for the emergency brake, and the auto brake. And you could just disengage one and never use it again. And just always use your foot brake wherever you went when you got in your spot. The thing about the transmission here, it does not have a transmission pawl in it. So what that means is that when you're in park, you might as well be in neutral. It can roll, whether you're in park or neutral. So until I get that cylinder fixed, I think it's what they're estimating online. Unless I get it rebuilt, it's going to be about $1,000 for a new cylinder and a hydraulic pump. And I think that money was already earmarked for the tow rig for Gobi.
It was.
It might be earmarked for something else now, but there is a place that rebuilds them, and I might just ship it out to him in Oregon and let him rebuild my cylinder and put it back on, because I will not have any type of emergency brake until that is done. So if we do any camping, we'll have to get to our spot using our foot brake. Once we get to our spot, once I get it where I need it, it's chalk it and then run the jacks up. But likely one of the hoses is busted. I have a video for one hard line with a pinhole leak from my power steering that's also links up with the power brakes. That's right, they do. They use the same pump a lot of times with the Hydro Boost unit. Dan, the vintage RVer. Yep, I imagine you've come across this before, Dan. Yep, I have a big lever to pull and it hits my leg for the parking brake on my RV. Good reminder that it's on. If I had a parking brake, I would do like, if I had two, in other words, the lever or the foot pedal, I would just take that unit out. The age of Matilda, I would just take that auto park brake unit out and leave it out. But I don't see how that's going to be. That's not safe to think every time I back in, I got to chalk before I do anything else. And I don't need Matilda rolling down through the, look where she'd roll here, down, 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 and she'd end up in the water down there if she didn't run over somebody.
She would hit the stop. There's several things.
Well, there's several big pine trees that definitely stop her. Sure are. Recumbent Wanderings. I was telling a guy at our storage unit how I wish I had Rick's skills to be able to own an older used RV toy hauler. He was 1974 RV, a bit ugly, but ran like a clock. Well, I tell you, Matilda's been good, and these really are superficial issues. It's not like it's a drive chain issue. It's not like it's an engine.
Johnny's Journey.
Johnny's Journey is good to see you. 22 folks in the room. Thank you all for being here on this Sunday afternoon. Let's see what else. Did you get the info that I texted you? That's for Johnny's Journey. That's a conversation between them.
Yep.
We get any mail this week? Any new stickers?
Well,
Just curious.
No, not really. I got a request from somebody in Sweden, but that was via Instagram, and I sent him our information. I haven't sent his out to him yet, only because you know how it is when you get an address on Instagram.
Blue Wave Odyssey. Hi, Bob.
Bob,
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Blue Sky Odyssey is Debbie.
Is it really?
Blue Sky Odyssey is Debbie. Blue Wave Bob. Blue Wave Odyssey is Bob.
I didn't know that.
Yep, that's right. Yes, Bob, good to see you. Was just telling everyone about brake problems, auto park brake. That's puppy dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a puppy dog.
That's our new neighbor.
We love puppy dogs. They came over just a minute ago and asked us to move the car from up on the street parking.
She just wanted to have
help her get in there. She got in there too.
She did a good job.
She has got a Freedom Express. Can you read the small print there? Who makes it? Coachman. Coachman makes it. It's a travel trailer. Freedom Express. Looks like it's about 20 feet long. Not very long. Is she by herself?
Her and her dog.
Pretty cool. Her and her dog.
She's coming to visit.
Hey. Hey, girl. What's it doing? Come here. Hey.
Hey, what a sweet little friend. She's fine.
Come here. Come on.
She's fine. You did a great job backing in. It is. We are. Don't worry about it. This is family. Kathy and Maggie. Yes. We love meeting new folks anyway. We got Mary Jones here. Hey, Mary, thank you. I'm sorry, what little interlude as we meet our new neighbors and make sure they got backed in properly and stuff like that. She's traveling on her own, and you know how that can be. And Maggie, our new little neighbor, four-legged neighbor. So love meeting everybody and just making sure she got set up like she needed to and that she's comfortable in her new spot. But we had a great, nice little neighbor. But anyway, so yeah, we had that experience. What other experience did we have this weekend?
That's Kathy, and that's Maggie.
And Maggie.
And she just bought that Freedom Express Coachman.
Oh, wow.
And so she's bringing it. She's going to be here for the week so that she can push all the buttons, open all the drawers, and give it the once over just in case she has to go back to the dealer to get anything fixed. So, you know, she's smart. Take it out. She's only 12 miles from her house. So she lives here. Where do you say you live? Georgia? Georgetown, yeah.
Right down the road. Good, good. Great job.
Yeah. We've been coming one side or the other now for about 2 months. Just since this whole COVID thing, we just stay over here in the park. So
but it's a great idea doing it close to home. Yeah, people have been.
You're right, camping therapy, absolutely.
And we've been
great idea for a shakedown trip close to home. Great idea.
But we've been doing it right here.
Let's see, Linda Barker. Doggo has taken him. That's right.
Enjoy your week.
Hello, everyone. Let's see.
Anyway, let's see. I've got us caught up with Mary Jones. Of course, she said Blue Wave, and I think that's just about everybody we've got caught up. What other troubles have we had this weekend?
We did have another issue. Yeah. Again, superficial issues that I can't not fix.
You can fix it.
I can fix this auto brake issue. I probably won't be able to put a seal. If it turns out to be the master cylinder, I probably won't be able to have the jig set up to put a seal in it and pressure test it. So I'll have to get that done, but I can reassemble that unit and put it back in. The other thing that happened was just before we left, I didn't tell you this.
No, he didn't. Because I was really surprised when we.
Just before we left the house on Thursday, I was getting everything ready to go, and I heard frequency. You've heard them too. It's just something is there. It's not really a squeal. It's not really a, you know, like a like if you've got a battery backup on your computer, little beeps going off, you know, the little alarm or something. There was a little squeal that I couldn't locate, and it was just a little squealing thing, and it wasn't an alarm like an LP gas alarm or a carbon monoxide detector. It wasn't any of that. But when I disconnected Matilda from shore power and I secured the air conditioners, the squeal went away. Squeal went away. So we get here, get her hooked up to shore power, get everything set, jump inside. One of the first things we do is go for that AC switch, start cooling Matilda off. I hit that switch and all I heard was the compressor come on, no fan, just the compressor. But you could hear that the fan motor was trying. Probably lost the bearings in the fan motor because I kept trying it, just kept popping it with juice every now and then, just using the fan, not the compressor. You don't want to pound your compressor like that. So I was just hitting the fan with the start switch, and eventually she squealed real loud and came to life and started blowing. So we counted our blessings. I turned the compressor on and she kept us cool until last night.
And I didn't even notice it going off. I mean, I did the dishes and cleaned up after our meal and stuff. And then I noticed how quiet everything was. And then that's when I told you, because after dinner, I think you just stretched out a little bit just to relax. And I went, honey, we got a problem. It's too quiet.
And it's starting to get warm.
Very fast.
Yeah. So we have 2 units. So I just went in the back and turned the back unit on. We rarely run the back unit.
We don't really need to run both units.
No.
We have fans inside. We just let it circulate the air and it keeps the whole place cold.
So we turned the rear unit on back in the bedroom. It's the same size unit.
You just reverse the fan
and just got the fans blowing air out of the bedroom down the center of the RV. Yeah. And it was certainly livable. We do most of our existing out in the front.
Yeah.
Last night we hung to the bedroom pretty close.
We just where we watch TV.
Yeah, watch TV from the bedroom instead of out front. And so yes, I got to put a blower motor. There again, I might even. No, it's too cheap to have that one rebuilt. Just buy a brand new one. Buy a brand new blower motor for this unit. I think these are Coleman units. But I'll Polar or Coleman. I can't remember now. But anyway, I gotta get these this fan fixed and get that auto brake fixed. But if I say when, because we're going camping again next weekend.
Yeah.
Depending on how everything works, disengaging the auto brake this afternoon and driving it home.
Oh, you're going to do it this afternoon?
I'd rather not.
Well, whenever you do it, I do want to say hello to Lori.
I'd like to chalk the wheels.
Lori Hackett, hello. He's getting all
Hey, Lori.
technical.
Since JW is here to help me, chalk the wheels good, and maybe take one of my GoPros and put it up underneath the RV, watching that. Go ahead and put some ATF in it, some automatic transmission fluid. And then watch.
Want a good
I want to see
for
it.
A good video.
Well, not that, but I'd like to see it, and I don't want to be under it while it's spewing fluid. You got what? You got voluntold.
Voluntold.
But I just think that's a good way to see what's happening with that pump. I'm praying that it is a hose, Dan. Dan says probably a hose. I hope so. I hope it's not that master cylinder, because if it is the master cylinder, to get a new cylinder and get that unit repaired, close to $1,000, and I'd rather spend that on the tow setup for.
Well, anything that's been needed to be done on Matilda, we've been real fortunate because you do.
Yeah.
You've been able to do a lot with her, and we have been real fortunate. I've been real blessed that you're able to be the handy person to do a lot with it. So we haven't had the task of having to put her in the shop anywhere. So we've been real blessed.
Dan, the Vintage RVer says you need a new start capacitor. Oh, you need a new start. You need a new start? I don't need a new start capacitor. Flux capacitor, not a start capacitor.
I have no idea.
About a flux capacitor now.
Nor do I care.
I would have the DeLorean of RVs.
Yeah.
The what was that thing in the second movie or something? The Easy Fusion or something like that. The Insta Fusion, Mr. Fusion, right? Mr. Fusion. You just drop.
Mr. Coffee was out there.
You just put banana peels and apple cores and stuff in there, and make your own
hickey or what you call it. Yeah.
Right. That would be a cool RV, a nuclear powered RV. Master cylinders are not bad to replace 2 bolts, 2 lines, but the location is the issue. Well, from what I'm seeing online, Dan, you basically drop that whole unit out. So that's what I've seen. A lot of them take it loose from the actuator in the cable. What I'm going to try and do this afternoon to disengage it is take it loose from the actuator midway underneath the RV. But it also goes up and over the top of the bell housing, and it goes to the actual the brake itself. And people say that's actually hard to get to disconnect it from that end. And then one guy online just said, get a big pair of dikes and cut that cable. In other words, if you were on the side of the road, because see, you can imagine how difficult this would be if you're driving. Let's say we were driving when this happened. Well, you're driving down the road 55, 60 miles an hour, and all of a sudden your auto park brake, because the fluid drains out of the reservoir, out of the master cylinder, the spring in the master cylinder pulls that cable, locks your drive shaft or your transmission, and you come to a screeching halt.
That part I understand.
Now you're sitting on the side of the road instead of at the RV park where I've got time and space to work on it.
Yeah.
Now you're on the road, and you need to get going. Well, this guy suggested just grab the first thing you can get, hacksaw, large wire dikes, bolt cutter, whatever you got or can get your hands on, and just sever that cable. And that'll get you on down the road. But make sure somebody is in. If you don't have a backup foot pedal emergency brake, or if you don't have somebody in the RV with their foot on the brake, then as soon as you sever that cable, that RV is moving in one direction or the other, depending upon the laws of gravity. So if she's going back down the road or she's going forward down the road, you better be ready when you, and that cable is under a lot of tension too, and it's going to pop so don't be anywhere near it. But anyway, that's just some of the reading I've been doing this weekend, so you can see why I'm kind of bummed out, and my spirits are down a little bit because I didn't want to spend the weekend having to think about Matilda. I wanted to be down there with the kayaks and the umbrella. It's still beautiful now. We still got time this afternoon.
We do.
A lot of time. Throw the duck. Dodie would love to duck.
Dodie only loves to duck.
That's right.
Full block under wheels. That's what James Cantonese says.
Absolutely, James. I've got some chalks, and I will chalk all 4 tires. And
then the vintage RVer sounds like a very knowledgeable person.
Well, Empath Embracing Life said I would not cut the cable, but I would dismantle it, though. You need a new one. You're absolutely right. I was only saying that in the case of on the highway and you're locked up. In other words, you got to get moving. You don't have time to get out and lay on your back and on the asphalt and slide up under it on a busy highway. Just grab something and cut that cable and get on down the road. Oh. But that would be a worst case scenario. Here,
we're not in a worst case scenario.
No, and I'm actually, before I do anything else, like I said, I'm gonna
go to the front gate and say, how long can we stay here?
I'm going to get up under there and check that reservoir and maybe add some ATF to it and and see how, go ahead and pull the jacks up and just see how she rolls back and forward, and, put it in reverse and forward and just pull back and forth in the spot here and see how she responds. If she's unlocked and she's not spewing transmission fluid, which is used for hydraulics, out of that unit, that box, then I'll know it's a slow leak, and I can probably fill that reservoir up and get home. But I might disconnect the cable anyway, just in case she ran out of fluid halfway home, and I did have that situation where now I'm on the road with that thing.
And now, let them know that getting home is less than 30 miles.
It is. It's less than 30 miles. So,
Lucky Dog Productions, welcome.
Is that moderator Sue, or is that Lucky Dog? That's Bob.
Moderator.
Oh, that's Sue. Hi, Sue. Good to see you. Hopefully she responds good so that you can get on home safe.
I
think
feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal with it in the morning, because then we got to deal with it and leave her.
Well, I'm going to deal with it today. If my tests are satisfactory today,
okay.
Basically as soon as we get off this live stream, then we'll leave in the morning.
All right. Nursing That Travel Bug is here. Hello, hello. Yeah, we just need to get home safely, and then we'll do whatever we need to do. And hopefully you can fix it enough that we can
let's get them home safe.
Get us back to the lake again next weekend.
This is an interesting caveat.
What's that?
Guess what Miss Barbara told me as we were leaving the house? We're getting ready to leave the house Thursday.
Oh, yes.
And she says, kind of raises her finger like this. And I went, what, honey? And I'm just getting ready to get in Matilda and drive over here. And she goes, no, we'll talk about it later. And I went, no, what you got? What do you need? She goes, I want to drive the RV home.
And then he breaks her. So tell me.
She was going to drive it home from here. And I thought that was the coolest thing.
Tell me. He broke it. He broke her so I couldn't drive her home.
You can still drive her home.
No, you broke her.
Free flying, baby. No brakes. Just go.
You broke her.
No, she'll have brakes. She just won't have an emergency brake or parking brake.
She'll have issues. She'll be coughing all the way home.
She will not be coughing all the way home.
Well, not coughing as in the engine coughing. Coughing as in that she's limping. She's going home not quite as ill as she normally would be going home. You broke her. Yes, that is very suspicious, Lippy Lisa. Very suspicious.
Well, have you ever thought that maybe Matilda heard you say you were going to drive her? Maybe it's not
was
me.
Running. You could hardly hear me.
Maybe it's not me. Maybe Matilda don't want anybody driving her.
He broke her. He broke her so that I couldn't drive her. Yep.
How many of you folks think Matilda had something to do with it? How many of you folks think that I had
on
something
my
to do
side?
with it?
I got two.
Listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for her driving the RV. The sooner the better. The problem is she's never even ridden in it.
Well, I drove her around the parking lot.
Well, you did down in Pensacola. They had a huge, what used to be a flight line down there.
I made a bunch of turns.
Got out there and drove it. Sure, I mean you got to feel for how it handles.
Yeah.
But you got to get it on the road and get a feel for where you are in space in that lane, and it does take a little work. James Cantonese, just a cable or blue fluid, brake fluid. I was almost going to pull a.
You were going to try to say, weren't you?
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Matilda sounds a lot like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Ricky would love that. That's his favorite all-time movie.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
He loves
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. We love you. And our Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang loves us too.
Yep. He broke her. He broke her.
Didn't.
You did.
Again, I was going to get a kick out of having you drive it. And again, you still can.
Well, now I'm not comfortable.
Now you're not comfortable. I hear you. He said he has brake fluid leaking on the way into the site and a puddle. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but here's a little side note. When we got Matilda, the auto brake light, the auto park, I think the light itself on the dash is called auto park. I don't believe that light was ever on. And I think coming back from Pensacola or something last year, or yeah, it would have been end of last year. I noticed that the auto park light was on, auto park light, and I convinced myself somehow that that was an indicator that the auto park was ready. In other words, it's not armed, but it's ready. Well, what I found out in experimenting or actually watching, reading the basically that auto park.
That's why they call them idiot lights.
That auto park light has been on for a year.
That's why they call them idiot lights.
So I've always questioned her performance, meaning her horsepower going up a hill, her compression. Now I know I got a leak in the exhaust manifold gasket, which would rob some horsepower, some compression. But I'm wondering if all this time there hasn't been a slight pressure on that auto park brake, which was just kind of grabbing, not enough to wear out the brake pads on that transmission brake, but just enough to.
Just like a man not listening to a woman.
And so I'm reading all these forums, and it says when your auto park light comes on, and I went, you mean it's not supposed to be on? I thought it was just on going, hey, you got auto park when you need it. Yeah, that's an on me right there. That's yes, the SpaceX capsule returned today. Absolutely, Wilson on wheels, and it is incredible that we're back in the space race again and headed for Mars. You know how long it's going to take to get to Mars?
No, I don't know how long it's going to take me. A long time.
8 months.
It's a long time.
8 months, real fast. If it was me, you, and Matilda headed for Mars.
Well, I don't know. There'd be idiot lights on, and we would never make it.
He is ignoring you, Barbara. I actually meant that they call it them idiot lights because sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So how many of you, that's a good question. I never thought about it because this is the only RV we've ever owned, the Class A, and of course she's 20 years old. How many of your RVs have either a lever or a foot pedal emergency brake, just like a car or truck would have? How many of your RVs actually have that? Because once I started investigating this, I realized, yeah, no, I don't have a pedal. I don't have a handle or a pedal that I can, a lever that I can engage the emergency brake. I do have a little yellow knob that I pull and push, and now I know that's simply an electrical signal to that auto park brake to pump the hydraulics and lock the transmission. But when that goes, that's all you got on one that doesn't have a mechanical brake.
Our epic RV adventure finally showed up. I hope you brought dessert.
Yeah, someone said it was going to be cake.
Yeah. Well,
hello,
James,
Michael. Hello, Shelley and Talon.
We've been talking about some emergency brake issues.
We have a
foot pedal, and
foot
so does
pedal
James.
For the emergency brake. Do you also have an auto brake or auto park brake? Are you familiar with that? Put it in park, and it automatically engages a brake that either lock up the wheel brakes or locks up the transmission brake. I have idiot lights, but I installed gauges. I have bone breaking lever under the dashboard for the parking brake. Yeah, that's one thing they said, Dan. If you get ready to release that cable, it is under tension, might be under tension, and thing will snap and do some damage, so be careful. Been napping this afternoon. It's over 100 degrees here, huh? We're in the pine trees. We got a little breeze coming off the lake here. We got a fan over here that's running.
Yeah.
We're in the shade. We're in the shade, and yeah, she actually went over to the facilities over here, and before she left, she just climbed in the shower, fully clothed.
Well, I have my swimming clothes on.
Oh, do you?
That's my swimsuit.
Okay, I didn't realize that. She just steps in, comes back drenching wet. You know,
it felt so good. You know, you go in there and it's cool and everything. The air conditioning's running full blast, and I got out and I'm washing my hands. I'm going, I'm the only one in here.
Lean closer to me. There's the kayaks in the umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah, the 2 kayaks down there in the umbrella waiting for us, but we gotta work on Matilda. There's your banner for today. Wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance, turn off the lawnmower before changing the blades. It's always good advice. Always good advice. And also, if you would like an RV Underway sticker, email rvunderway@gmail.com, rvunderway@gmail.com. One more time for clarity, rvunderway@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll send you a sticker. If you have stickers, we'd love to get one of yours. We had 2 videos come out in the past 2 weeks, which is unusual for us. We had a quick little video, which was a congratulations for those involved in the fundraiser. And we raised money for Vets to Vets United, veterinarians to veterans. They find shelter animals, dogs, and train them to work for and with veterans who need emotional support animals. And it's a great cause. Michael and Shelley and Talon and Justin and Leslie
And Scout.
and Jerry and Scout, that's right. And Jerry and Teresa and Levi. But anyway, they headed everything up, and you probably remember it. Most of you in here, they raised well over $10,500 to give to that charity. And if you haven't seen those videos, go back to any one of those 3 websites: Happy Place Diaries, Our Epic RV Adventure, Wayward, Waggs, and check out their videos and their lives associated with that. It was a very good cause and a very good endeavor, and I can't wait to do it again. We'll have more t-shirts and another drive coming up, some worthy charity that assists veterans. So be looking for that.
Rayleigh's Creative Travels have showed up. Hey.
Hello, Rayleigh Creative Travel. Also, the other video we put out was right here on Lake Eufaula, 4th of July weekend. We had a storm blow up over at Cody's Lagoon, which from here is
that way.
Back over that way.
About 10 miles.
Yep. And Cody's Lagoon took a thrashing, and some boats that were in Cody's Lagoon took a thrashing too. And although it's a stretch saying it's an RV video, we were RVing when we witnessed it. We were camping, and it was a fun video. Go watch it and learn from it. Perhaps if you're a pontoon owner, you have a pontoon boat, take it to sea when the winds pick up. Don't leave it tied up next to a metal embankment, a retaining wall. It was a metal retaining wall, and he had it tied up there, and it was just a bouncing and a banging. It was something. Go check out that video. It's called Storm at Cody's Lagoon, and the other one was called Congratulations or something, Vets to Vets United. So check that one out. Check out our channel. If you're not a subscriber, we would certainly appreciate it. Again, we're just over 815. We keep going from like 48. I was looking this morning, it's like 815. Every time I go to Our Epic RV Adventure or The Art of RVing or Wayward Waggs and watch videos, my numbers go down. What's the deal with that? Do they like transfer?
Maybe that's our problem.
No, I know what the problem is. The problem is content.
820.
And we just don't have enough time to.
We don't. And
I'd love to. I love editing video. I'll tell you one of my problems.
The problem is you are too much of a perfectionist. You spend too much time editing the videos.
I'm learning, but
you can't let them go on the road.
Let me tell you of a mistake I made, so perhaps you won't make the same mistake. You know, there's 4K video, and then there's any number of resolutions between 4K. There's even 8K in some cases, but 4K down to 1080, and then to 720, and then to 480, and so forth. Well, frame rate, you know, is anywhere from 24 frames, 25 frames, 30 frames, 29.98 frames, all the way up to 60 frames, even 120 frames per second. I got my new phone, and I do a lot of filming with the phone. This is the latest Galaxy, the 20 plus something, and it'll do 60 frames up to 4K. So I filmed about a month and a half or 2 months worth of video at 60 frames per second at the highest resolution that the camera would film in. All well and good. Footage looks great. You look at it on the phone, it is excellent. Import that huge thing into Adobe Premiere and then try to bring it in with, I've even got a pretty good machine in there with 16 gigs of RAM, and it's got an 8 gig video, high performance video adapter. And even with all of those, it's a crawl trying to edit that video. So what I've learned to do, first off, if I'm not, unless I need to do slow motion, I'm not filming in 60 frames per second. That is the culprit. That's the killer. 60 frames per second. The large resolution means I can zoom in with more detail without losing as much. And I like a lot of times to frame my shots, so I do need to zoom in some. I frame it in post, so I do need to zoom in. But the killer was at 60 frames a second. So what I learned, there's Maggie. Hey, Maggie. What I learned was if I overnight just start the process and then go to bed, because it's going to take hours, I convert that 60 frames per second to 29.97 or 30 frames per second, which is what I like working in. If you're doing cinematic, you do 24 or 25 frames per second. But then I have a 30 frame per second large resolution image that I can now actually edit without it crawling and loading down the resources on my computer. No, I'm only telling them this because if you think you want to do 60 because there might be a great shot you want to slow-mo, don't do it. Number one, the file sizes are huge. Number two, your machine will just crawl trying to deal with 60 frames a second. So you have to have a beast machine to edit things, always hitting the GPU wall. I got you, Wilson on wheels. I hear you. I mean, I got a good machine. As long as I'm in that range of 30 frames and I'm working with 1080 as the end product, I can edit my video process. The machine process is quick. This process, the creative process, takes a lot longer, much longer. There's always something to learn. We just jumped from using iMovie to using Filmora 9 for editing. I hear that's some great software. I use Adobe Premiere because when I worked at the TV station, that's what we used. And it was my job to train all the baby reporters, the toddler reporters, how to edit their news stories. So I got pretty good at it before too long. What was that about 4K? Let's see. I dumped my GoPro Hero 5 with all the large files Editing 4K is tough. I hear you. I know it is. You need more drama, action, romance, dare I say clickbait. We were told to drop 4K footage on timeline and then export it, then work with the export, supposed to make the, I've heard that a lot with GoPro. Drop it in the timeline first, render it, and then work with the rendered product. The native GoPro file, a lot of video editing software has problems with that, has issues dealing with that. 23 folks in the room. Again, proud you folks are here. It's 3:55, 5 minutes away from me crawling under the RV.
Yeah.
If everything goes well, we'll be home and then back here next weekend. Actually at this site, Cotton Hill Campground, but farther down.
Further down the beach.
Farther down the beach. So why don't we just tie up the kayaks and leave them? Kidding.
You wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't do that. These are good folks. We've never had a problem. We've never had a problem in any Corps of Engineer campground.
No.
We went to a state park up there around Montgomery and had our cooler towed at 100 yards and dropped off. They took the contents. The cooler was sitting outside the door and it was full of iced down beer. And we went somewhere. No, we went to bed. We went to bed.
We opened up a bottle of John Rich, the two of us. It's extremely smooth. John Rich, Redneck Riviera, the two of us drank a lot of it.
Bourbon whiskey.
And it was very smooth. And
it'll get you.
And apparently we didn't hear a sound. And
we went to bed.
We went to bed. And Ricky helped our neighbor hitch up their.
He got rear-ended coming through Montgomery, and it kind of messed up his tow connection on front of his towed vehicle.
Yeah.
So he was having to manhandle it to get it to line up, and I was helping him. And I told him before he got ready to pull out, I said, "Fella, don't," I called him by his name. It's amazing how quickly you get to know people.
I think it was Buck.
Buck or something like that. And I said, "Buck, don't forget your cooler out there." He just looks over at his little red cooler and goes, "That's not my cooler." Then I got to looking at it, and I went, "Wait a minute, that's my cooler." And sure enough, it had gone from the RV out in the middle of the field out there next to his pad, and of course was empty.
We were full of beer.
Full of land shark, and so someone took the land shark. At least they left the cooler. All right, let's see what time we got now. We got 3 minutes left to go. Nursing Our Travel Bug is going to be on next.
Yep. And they've already, our wonderful moderators have already put the link in.
Yes, Dan, if you've never tried Redneck Riviera, John Rich from Big and Rich, the country band, it is very smooth. It's a good whiskey if you just like a sipping whiskey. I've always heard sipping whiskey. It's got to be smooth to be sipping whiskey for me, and that's smooth.
That's good.
Very smooth, no bite. We shot for 4K in a while and went back to 1080p. It is just quicker and easier to work with. Quicker and easier is the key. I ain't getting paid for it, so I'm going to stick with 30 frames, 1080. I might bump the resolution up because I still like to frame it, but that doesn't cause as much of a draw on my system as the frame rate does. Now, I'm not going 4K. So let's see here. That's right. RV underway raid on Nursing Our Travel Bug. Folks, take Michael, Shelley, and Talon's advice there in the link and go on over to see Nursing Our Travel Bug. And then you've got Beyond Beauty 3. Then you've got, I don't think Beyond Beauty 3 comes on. Yeah, they come on right after Nursing Our Travel Bug.
I believe so.
And then later on tonight, Michael, Shelley, and Talon will be on.
Yes.
With,
no, they're not going to be on.
Oh, you're not going to be on.
I don't think they're going to be on because they said I don't think they're going to be on tonight.
Well, we got a minute or two left. We got 1 minute left. Shelley, Michael, one of you, are you going to be on tonight? If so, drop your link in there as well. And folks, thank each and every one of you for coming. We certainly
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. And if all goes well, There'll be a video out this week on how to disengage an auto park brake. And next weekend, we'll be right down there. We'll do our live with the lake in the background again. Until then, God bless you, folks. Have a great Sunday and a great week coming up. And until we see you again, fair winds and following seas.
God bless y'all.